You're listening to Roundtable Sports Talk, bringing you the latest, hottest, and up-to-date sports news across the world, with your hosts, Austin, Brett, and JP.
Welcome back, everyone. Episode 11 of the Roundtable Sports Talk Show podcast, where we cover every major sport, all the recent news. You can find our show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Spreaker, Stitcher, and we stream live every day, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on the Leeb Sports Network. Got a couple topics for y'all today. We're going to cover some NFL, MLB, and we're going to cover the recent NBA news. So let's get right to it. Now, NFL, they just trimmed all 32 teams trimmed down to a 53-man roster. There was not any notable cuts, mostly rookies and people who haven't been playing on the practice squad. There was a few trades also to cut down that as well. There was a couple signings as well. Houston signed DeAndre Hopkins to a 5-year extension worth $81 million. $49 million of that is guaranteed money, which is the highest of any NFL guaranteed money to any player. Also, we know Houston's still dealing with the Hurricane Harvey aftermath. J.J. Watt's fundraiser sitting at $17 million right now. The original goal was half a million, so he's doing that as well. I know they're trying to get all that stuff cleaned up. They're still going to play in Houston as the Jags in Houston kick off Sunday. So we'll see how that goes. Speaking on back to DeAndre Hopkins, I got a couple stats for y'all. His first 4 seasons, he caught in 317 passes for 4,487 yards and 23 touchdowns. Now, in 2015, is when his breakout season, he caught in 111 catches, 1,521 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Last season, dipped down a little bit. He only caught 78 for 954 yards and only scored 4 touchdowns. So, what do y'all think? You think he's going to bounce back? Let us know. You can hit us up on Twitter, RT_Sports Talk. Find us on Facebook.com/RT Sports Talk. Let us know. Other signing, Cleveland released Brock Osweiler this week to trim down on their roster. The funny thing is, he got picked up by Denver, so now Cleveland is on the hook for $15.225 million is what they owe Brock Osweiler. And Denver just paid him a veteran's minimum of $775,000. So good job, Brock Osweiler. You got yourself a nice pay cut. He was a second-round pick by Denver in 2012, and he played 4 years with Denver before going to Houston. So I know he's going to be playing behind Trevor Siemian, as Trevor Siemian is going to start. And then when Paxton Lynch comes back, he will take the backup role. So I don't know what Houston's going to do. We'll see about that. Moving on. Andrew Luck was taken off the PUP list, but they just released today that he will not start Week 1 as they're still concerned over his injury. So hopefully maybe he'll get back to throwing, and maybe he'll start soon. So we'll see about that. Moving on, Le'Veon Bell ended his holdout. He signed his $12.1 million franchise tender on Monday. He averaged 157 yards from scrimmage last season per game, which is the third best for a running back in NFL history. So we'll see what they do with him. Maybe they'll start him off easy. I know they're going to have to get him in there with the offense and get practicing and getting the hang of things again. I know he will start Week 1, and I'm sure he will dominate Cleveland. Maybe he'll keep up with the averaging of the 157 yards or more. So we'll see about that. Now, I want to go over with you guys my Super Bowl prediction this I know they're doing more predictions, but this is my prediction. I have Oakland winning against the Dallas Cowboys. So that is my Super Bowl prediction. Let me know what y'all's Super Bowl prediction. Hit me back. Twitter, RT_sports talk. Hit us up on Facebook.com/RT Sports Talk. Now, let's move on to the MLB. Last month of baseball. Playoffs start October 5th, the divisional rounds. And then you guys have your wild card as well. The big story is the Dodgers have been on a skid recently heading into the playoffs. They're sitting at number 1 right now in the NL West. The past 15 games, they're 5-10. Their hitters have been averaging 0.225 batting average, and have only been scoring a little over 3 runs per game. Their pitching staff has been pitching at a 4.52 ERA, and their rotation has been pitching at a 5.82. With this being said, this will eliminate their chances of breaking the MLB record of 116 wins. Their schedule for September is they play against Arizona for 3 games at home. After that series, they play Colorado for 4 games. After that series, they play in San Francisco for 3 games as they hit on the road. They also play Washington in that stint for 3 games. After that, they are still on the road against Philly for 4 games. They come back home. They play San Francisco again for 3 games. Staying at home, they play against San Diego for 3 games. And then just before playoffs start, they play at Colorado for 3 games. So, keeping on the MLB, big story is Giancarlo Stanton hit his 52 homer against the last game against the Phillies, and he's still on pace for the 62 home run. In August, he hit 18, and within the season before September, he's hit 51 home runs, which was close. He was like 6 home runs behind the leader of home runs before the month of September. Now, a big question has been going around is, what is the real home run record? Some people say Barry Bonds with 73, even though he took PEDs. Some people don't care about that. Some people think a record is a record, which I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I believe the real record is 73 with Barry Bonds. Other people think Sammy Sosa was 66, but we know as well he took PEDs. So some people believe that one, probably because people were not a fan of Barry Bonds. And some people think the Roger Maris with 61 is the real record because he never took PEDs. I know a couple friends who would agree with that, but my personal opinion is 73. A record is a record. Whether or not you take PEDs or not, it is common nowadays that players have been taking performance-enhancing drugs, not just in MLB now, NFL, and all in other sports. You always get players coming down with breaking the policy of performance enhancers. So I'm going to go ahead and go over with my division winner predictions as the baseball playoffs are coming soon, within a month away. So I have in the AL East, I have Boston Red Sox with a record of 91-71, which an 82% is what I have them winning the divisional series. Now behind them, I have the Yanks at 88-74, and behind them, I have the Orioles at 82-80. Now in the AL Central, I have the Cleveland Indians sitting at 97-65. Behind them, I have the Twins at 84-78, and behind them, I have the Kansas City Royals at 80-82. In the AL West, I have the Houston Astros at 98-64. I have the Los Angeles Angels at 83-79, and the Texas Rangers at 82-80. So I have winning the AL to go to the World Series. I have the Cleveland Indians beating out the Boston Red Sox. Now in the NL East, I have the Nationals at a record of 98-64. Behind them, I have the Marlins at 80-82. and I have the Braves sitting at 73-89. In the NL Central, I have the Cubs at 90-72. Behind them, I have the Brewers at 84-78, and the Cardinals at 83-79. In the NL West, I have the Dodgers at 109-33, Diamondbacks 93-69, and the Rockies 84-78. In the NL, I have the Cubs beating out the Dodgers to go to the World Series. Now, my World Series prediction, in the AL, I have the Indians going up against the Cubs, and I have them losing in 6 games against the Indians winning the World Series. So, that's my prediction. People have their own other predictions, but that's mine. Let me know what you think. Twitter or at RT_sports talk, Facebook.com/RT sports talk. So let me know. And now in our last show we covered in the NBA, Cleveland was renegotiating their deal with Boston of getting, trading out Kyrie Irving and getting Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, Ante Zizic, and a unprotected first-round draft pick from Brooklyn. Now, within the rest of that week, they finally finalized their deal. Celtics ended up giving them their 2020 second-round pick from Miami to finalize that deal. So now it's official. Kyrie Irving is now a Celtic, along with Gordon Hayward. They had a press conference just before the weekend, fully initiating them as a part of the Boston Celtics organization. So that's kind of weird why Cleveland was making all that noise and they ended up settling in for a 2020 second round pick. I think it's a little bit ridiculous, but whatever the case, that may be good for them. I still think Cleveland got the better end of the deal just by Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder. They could shop Isaiah Thomas for another person, but I don't think that'll happen as he's competing for a max contract at the end of the season. So I think once he comes back on the court, I think he'll be better than Kyrie Irving, if you can believe that. But there have reports been coming out saying that he might not be available just after the All-Star break. So that's a long stint. But they play plenty of games right after All-Star break. So we'll see about that. The Celtics could shop Kyrie as well to get another player. Like I said in our last show, I said they could shop him for a player like Anthony Davis, who I think will be out of New Orleans after the end of the season. So we'll see about that. Let me know your thoughts on this. Hit us up on Twitter, RT_sports talk, Facebook.com/RT sports talk. Let me know your thoughts on this. Keeping on the NBA, the Lakers were fined earlier in the week $500,000 by the NBA over the tampering situation with Paul George. Now, what could have ended up happening was they could have gotten fined $5 million. Future signing with Paul George to go to LA and all that. So I think they got off easy. But like I said, tampering, you can't talk negotiations with the player while they're under contract with another team. That's against the NBA policy. You can't even talk to them without them not being under contract or a free agent or anything like that. So that is all the NBA news I have for you guys. It's very dry right now. They'll start picking up soon as camps and all that will start because they start playing in early October. So last weekend was NCAA football. I got the excitement of watching 2 games. I watched the end of the Gators-Michigan game, which was kind of a disappointment to me. The Gators were good as they had 2 pick sixes in the first half, but after that, they looked terrible. I know the quarterback was struggling, and he had his issues. I watched a play where he was in the end zone on the opposite end, and just wasn't even paying attention to another side, and a linebacker came in and sacked him, and they ended up getting a safety because of that. So I think the Gators have quarterback issues on their hand. They need to figure out what they are going to do, and they need to figure out quick. I also watched the Florida State-Alabama game, which was kind of a boring game to me. I figured it'd be a lot higher scoring, and I figured it'd be a lot closer because of that game. Alabama won 24-7. My prediction, I had them winning by 10-12, so I was pretty close. The game was 14 points. Their quarterback, DeAndre Francois, is out with a patella tendon injury, season ender, so that's a big loss for Florida State. Hopefully their backup can do something, but I think Florida State's going to struggle here for the next couple of games. Other than that, I didn't watch any other college football. I'm sure there was a lot of games. Some of the games were really high scoring and stuff like that. So, other than that, I have no other news for you guys. Hopefully I can get you guys another podcast this week. Austin and JP are busy at the moment with their Austin's coaching Pop Warner and JP's coaching St. Aug High football. So their schedule's a little bit tight right now. So I'm going to keep being back here with you guys every week. Hopefully we all can get together at some point in time and get you guys another full show. I'm sure once the NFL season starts, we'll be back with you guys, all 3 of us. So, like I said, you can follow ourselves on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Spreaker, and many more. We stream live every day, 7 p.m., 9 p.m. on the Leap Sports Network, so you can catch us up on that, as we are with other affiliate podcasts as well, so you can check out their shows as well. Very exciting network to be on. So, like I said, hopefully I can get you guys another show this week. I'm going to try to up it to 2 shows a week. So I appreciate all the follows, all the listeners, fans, all that. Give me feedback on our shows. You can hit them, Austin and JP, up for feedback as well. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/RT Follow us on Twitter at RT_Sports You can follow myself at AKA Brett D. You can follow Austin at Austin Hersey. And you can follow JP at JPP_25. So we'll be back with you hopefully the end of this week. Thank you so much.
That's this week's episode of Roundtable Sports Talk Podcast with your hosts, Austin, Brett, and JP. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Roundtable Sports Talk. Thank you for listening.